It's MAAC Monday, and our MAAC conversations continue. We'll have tickets for the MAAC tournament coming up March 10th through the 14th at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, which, of course, is the prelude to March Madness. And right now, head coach Jay Young, Fairfield, is with us right now as they knocked off Monmouth yesterday. Nice buzzer beater, and that's what March Madness is all about. Coach, welcome to MAAC Monday. How are you?
I'm great, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're excited that the tournament is coming to Atlantic City, but it's kind of, you're right in the heart of your conference play right now. And each week we have done these MAAC conversations. It seems that this tournament is going to be wide open. That's the read we keep getting week to week.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I said the other day that 11 teams are going to get on a bus heading to Atlantic City, and I think all 11 of them will think legitimately that they have a chance to win the tournament, and they should. Just the way that the league has shaped up and so many close games. And, on any given night, anybody can beat anybody. That's a saying that a lot of people say, but it certainly is true in this league.
Oh, and that's in the whole country, right? I mean, you were at Rutgers the last couple of years, and you're seeing a turnaround there. And I don't know if and I'm not taking anything away from Rutgers, but it just shows how wide open it is that a program that was kind of struggling and is kind of turning itself around is now it seems that everybody in this country has a shot to do something special, it seems, this year, that the winner of the MAAC championship is going to get into this big dance, and it wouldn't be surprising if any of these teams makes a fun run.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, obviously, watching Rutgers this year has been a lot of fun for me personally. I was obviously holding them back because since I left, they were very well. But we won 7 league games when I was there last year and was a young team, so you started to see the turnaround. I think, when teams start to get older and they stay together, that's something that's been really important at Rutgers, and hopefully we can continue that here. That you see that getting older and staying together is a big positive in college basketball. But that's been our theme. I said it today. We're coming off a tough loss to a good Iona team, and I said, guys, in a few weeks from now, unless they change the rules, which I don't think they're going to, there's going to be a team from the MAAC that's going to go to the NCAA tournament, and I firmly believe that can be us. So. And again, I'm sure all of the 10 teams feel the same way.
Yeah, and this is a league that, for the listeners out there, kind of describe the toughness of a league like this. This is the kind of where night to night you're just seeing guys that are doing this that, you might not have that high-level Division I, lottery pick there, but all these guys are so fundamentally sound and gritty and tough. Like, it's so much fun watching. It's going to be a ton of fun watching this conference tournament, but to go through the league night to night, like, what kind of play can the fans anticipate seeing?
Well, I think the quality of play is really good in this league. There's some outstanding players. It's a rumble every night. You've got to come and you got to defend, you got to rebound, and there are some very, very good offensive players. I think if the fans show up, they're going to be really pleased at the level of play and the quality of play of these MAAC teams because, there are just some very, very talented guys and some very talented coaches in this league, and there are no nights off. In some of the leagues, you can probably the upper part of the league can go on the road and still play poorly, and still come away with a win. That's not the case in this league. You've got to just kind of really bring it every single night, or you're going to come away with a loss.
I may have to root for you guys, Jay. I grew up in Fairfield and went to that annoying little prep school that's attached to Fairfield U called Fairfield Prep. So I feel
you were one of those guys, huh?
I am one of. Listen, sometimes I'm not proud to say it though.
Right.
But I know you guys.
We love having them.
Yeah, I know you guys have had that arena in Bridgeport, right, for several years now that was built, and I wonder if is it better to have the whole league come to Atlantic City and play in Boardwalk Hall in front of kind of that neutral audience where everybody can travel, or was it a good situation when teams that had big, nice stadiums for their own could go and play there too, and they would just go each year to a different spot?
Well, I don't really have a lot of historic perspective on the league because it's my first year here, but I can think everybody's kind of excited to, head to Atlantic City. We were down there for our league meetings during the summer, got an opportunity to tour the the arena, and it's just the history there. I thought was really, really cool. And to have a place where fans can go and really enjoy themselves, I think it's going to be a great venue. And I know our guys are. We got 8 games left, so I hope they're not looking ahead because we got 8 really difficult games. But I think there's going to be a real excitement from everybody in the league to get to Atlantic City and play their best basketball, hopefully.
Now, Coach, you had obviously, you said with Rutgers, you're recruiting a Big Ten type of player. You're going to do the tournament here in Atlantic City. What type of player do you look for? What type of player are you recruiting to play at Fairfield and play in the Metro?
Well, you kind of compare yourself. You want to get players that can compete in the upper part of the conference. And for the past, 4 years, certainly, Iona has been the benchmark of excellence in this conference. And we've got to get, players that can compete night in and night out with those better teams. And, for me, it's kind of we built it at Rutgers, and when I was at Stony Brook with Coach Peichel before that, it was always about defending and rebounding first. That's how we got to go, and that's what it's kind of been here too. When we do those two things, we got a chance to win. We're not going to win. It's as simple as that for us. So I like guys who are competitive, guys who obviously there's a certain level of talent that you look for, but I like guys who want to get after it on the defense end, want to rebound, want to be coached hard, and usually when you have those 3 things, the rest of it you can't help but improve. So we're going to try and develop some guys here, but those are the qualities I'm looking for in a player.
I always felt, Coach, watching MAAC basketball, that a lot of those guys who went to the MAAC schools, they were grew up in either the shadows of Boston or New York City, down here in South Jersey or even North Jersey, and it's like you have UConn and Rutgers and Seton Hall and St. John's, and they aspired to go there, and they came from the cities and didn't get that chance, and they always took that kind of chip on their shoulder approach to going to play the MAAC. They wanted to be just like the guys who went to play at the bigger Division I schools.
Yeah, there's no question about that, and I think that's a great thing to have, to be a little have an ego about some of the places that you didn't recruit you. So I think you play a little hungrier when that's the case. And the other thing it enables, we had a player who was an iconic mid-major player that I was lucky enough to help coach at Stony Brook named Jamil Warney, and he came to the right level, got the chance to play from day one, and ended up being, scoring over 2,000 points and 1,000 rebounds, and got a chance to play for the Dallas Mavericks. So it's about the level and a place that you can play and have an impact on your career. And if there's no better examples in the NBA right now about what some of the mid-major players are doing in that league. So I think if you look back at some of their careers, it's the opportunity to play right away, and that can only make you better. So there are great players everywhere. It's just a matter of finding them. And I think that when the people show up and the fans show up to watch these teams, they're going to come away, like I said, very, very impressed with the level of play.
Coach, just looking at the standings in the MAAC from top to bottom, knowing that the tournament is essentially the ticket. That's the one ticket that I think all of the teams in the MAAC are fighting for. How does that change your preparation, day to day in practice and even game to game?
Yeah, I mean, it's just for us a singular approach. We've got to play against Marist on Friday night. It's a good team, very well coached, and for us, it's just a matter of our process. We're going to try and play the best we can. Hopefully, get out there with a win. And at the end of this whole thing, in 8 games, we're going to be where we're at because we just kind of approach it that way. So we don't really change much from day to day. Where you finish is just a function of your process at the end of it. So we're hoping that that's going to be good enough to move us up. And then when you get into those, single eliminations, it's about probably, who turns the ball, who makes the fewer mistakes, who's making shots, and who's turning the ball over less. You've seen a lot of crazy things happen in league tournaments when there's, and I've lived them as an assistant at Stony Brook. So there's usually a team that gets hot and playing at the right time, and hopefully that's going to be us.
As head coach Jay Young, Fairfield, the MAAC championships will be in Atlantic City. The difference between Monmouth first place and last place Canisius is very minuscule. 2.5 games of each other, 9 teams all battling. They will be here in Atlantic City. The winner heads to the NCAA tournament. Coach, I'll ask you this. How wide open is this year's tournament? Michigan State was the preseason number 1. They are out of the top 25. Ohio State at one point was number 2. They are out of the top 25. So is this the kind of year where 25 years ago, the MAAC had 2 teams in the NCAA tournament? Is this the kind of year that a mid-major or somebody could make a run to a Final Four and maybe surprise somebody?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, people said that Butler couldn't do it or George Mason couldn't do it, and they certainly have done it. VCU, the same thing. So there's always going to be a team. I think that's why people love college basketball so much. You could probably, I don't know, just say 30 teams could win this whole thing or more, and you'd have a good argument for it. You really would. I think the parity is great. The kids compete every night, and that's what makes the sport, as great as it is, in my mind.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It is so wide open. If you sit down and watch college basketball week to week, you're going to have a different opinion of who might be the best team. And who knows, you might see a team make a Sweet 16 and Elite 8 that started right here in Atlantic City, March 10th through the 14th. The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference is coming, and Coach Jay Wright, it's Jay Young. Jay Wright's up in Villanova, of course. Jay Young at Fairfield.
I like that. No, nice compliment. I'm much better looking than him. Much better looking than Jay Wright.
Coach, we wish you luck the rest of the season, and we'll see you in Atlantic City.
All right, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. The league filled with guys, Lionel Simmons, LaSalle. You got Bobby Gonzalez, the Manhattan Jaspers.
Yes.
Fran Fraschilla was a coach there.
Sure. Jeff Ruhlin.
Well. Yeah, Iona.
Yeah.